You're welcome to Speech Perfect 2023. It's an honor to have convened this meeting and have you all sign up. And not just sign up because you know me, because quite a couple of persons on this call don't know me directly, but you've signed up because you want to see yourself improve in the aspect of public speaking. And I want to assure you that at the end of this meeting, you'd be glad that you joined. And I want to encourage you to stay till the end. You know, there are sometimes people join meetings and they just join for 5 minutes. Oh, let me see how this thing is, and they zone out. Please, this is not the time to zone out. It's a time for you to invest in yourself. And I'm sure that at the end of this call, you'd be glad that you joined in. My name is Abiye Abere, and it's an honor to be your coach for this evening. I'd like to meet you, I'd like to know you, and I'd like to know where you're joining in from. So do well to keep that coming into the chat box so that I could recognize you. We have some persons joining in from Port Harcourt people, you're welcome. We have some people joining in from Kano State, Nigeria, you're welcome. Someone indicated that she's joining in from Tanzania, you're welcome. Someone indicated Akwa Ibom, Cross River and other parts of Nigeria, well represented here. You are welcome. We have 49 persons on the call now, and one of the rules, because we've started, is Speech Perfect for a reason, to ensure that we all have the necessary public speaking skills. And one thing in public speaking is that time is well respected. Bayo, I can see you, you're welcome. So time is well respected, and we will just start the conversation because public speaking is a very broad subject that I cannot seem to convey in 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It's a lot, and we are trying to have a crash meeting right now. Regardless, it's going to be really full of value, that I can assure you. So very quickly, I want to share my screen now, and I want us to follow through. Thank you. More of what I would be doing, by the way, I want to really appreciate those persons that sent in their questions, because I want to believe that for something to be valuable to you, it would have solved a particular problem in your life. Maybe I'm not hungry, maybe I need music, and you give me food and you force me to eat the food. The food has no impact on me, so I can do away with the food. But when you give me music, which I want, then I'd say that you've impacted my life in some way. And so what I did was to get all our questions together to ensure that they are well answered in this meeting. So I should say a very big thank you to those persons who sent in their questions. We officially begin this meeting right now, and I want to share my screen. Do confirm that you can see this.
Yes, we can.
Great. So, Speech Perfect Masterclass, becoming the speaker of your dreams. Just to ask you, what kind of speaker do you dream to be? Someone should unmute and speak, please. What kind of speaker do you dream to be? That was the tag. When you saw the theme of the meeting, becoming the speaker of your dreams, what came to mind? I want to hear someone. You're on Speech Perfect and you can't be mute. Unmute yourself and speak. Somebody, anybody could raise.
All right.
Okay, great.
All right. The reason why I joined is that I want to be able to compete.
Hello,
customers.
Can you just introduce yourself? Say, hello, my name is, I can see Clinton. Hello, my name is Clinton, and this is why I joined. So just introduce yourself and tell me, when you saw becoming the speaker of your dreams, what kind of speaker do you dream to be?
Hello, my name is Clinton. I'm talking from Port Harcourt, Nigeria.
Okay.
Well, the reason why I joined is because I wanted to be a very good speaker in such a way that I will be able to convince my customers who are doing business with me to buy into my ideas just with a little time spent with them. So I want to be able to convince those who listen to me that they actually need my product or my service. So that's the reason why I joined the class.
Okay, great. Thank you. Does any other person want to go? Why did you join
Yes.
the class? What
My
kind of
name,
speaker do you dream to be? So go on, your name and why. Thank you.
All right, good evening, sir. My name is
Good evening.
Rose. I'm from Abuja.
Oh, really?
Okay, I joined this class because I want to be a public speaker in the sense of speaking for the vulnerable children in our society. So to be able to interact with them, pass the knowledge required, and get the attention of both NGOs and international bodies that will be of help to these vulnerable children.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I can see Morrison raising.
Okay, good evening.
Okay, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Ephraim from Port Harcourt, yeah? But can you hear me?
Ephraim,
Yeah, Ephraim.
if you'd like, if you're in a position to put on your camera, please, you would help us with that. It's pitch perfect. Yeah. It is visibility we're building. So do well to show us your fine face.
Okay, yeah. My face no fine, sure. But okay, I will do that soon. But let me just like say why. Sorry. You asked the question, yeah?
Yeah.
You said when I saw the what came to my mind? Actually, yeah. What came to mind is I want to become the kind of speaker that people can help but want to listen to. And even though we don't have the same opinion on a particular topic, okay, I'll be able to convey my message in such a way that you have like you would agree with me, even though you do not believe in the same things, but like you see where I'm coming from, to probably like, you know, like, I don't know, paint what I have in mind with words. Do you understand?
And that's why you're on Speech Perfect, so that you would properly articulate, paint whatever word that's on your mind. Okay, great. So let's take the next person. Thank you so much. Morrison Peculiar, please, you'd help us put on your video and speak. Thank you.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Thank you.
You can go on. You can go on. Peculiar. Okay, let's take time. I can see Taiwo. Is up. Raising your hand. Peculiar, are you there?
Good evening. I'm Peculiar Morrison.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. I can hear you. Go on.
All right. So for me, right, I would when I saw it from the onset, I was like, I was happy about it, and my take was I want to actually be able to communicate people in a way that effectively, so people will be able to understand and relate with me on a particular subject matter. Being able to teach correctly and express myself in the best way I could and be fluent in speaking. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So regardless of why you joined, okay, Oluwa Pelumi is also raising her hand. Okay, Pelumi is the last person we'll take. Pelumi Victoria, please go on. Thank you. Someone's asking what's the question. We're answering the question when you saw the tag Speech Perfect, becoming the speaker of your dreams. What came to mind and what kind of speaker do you dream to be? That's the question. So if you're still there, Victoria, please go on.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Victoria. Welcome.
So I actually had it in mind to start my business very soon. I'm into fashion and then I want to. So I really wanted to present my fashion business in a different way. But I don't know how people will take it. So you took us on a masterclass in Church on the Street. And I was so excited when I saw the flyer again for the speech and the pitch. I was very happy. I was very, very happy. So I just signed up for the class because it's actually timely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Victoria, representing the Church on the Street family. We're going to be going straight to why we are here, Speech Perfect. Just what we've said, we've come here for different reasons. And I want to reiterate that regardless of why you came, maybe you just saw the flyer and liked my face and you decided to sign up, or you love the tag Speech Perfect, or you have a very strong intention on why you should join, you would definitely upskill and come to a point of attaining perfection and mastery in public speaking. That's what Speech Perfect is about. So once again, I'm going to take you straight to the slide. Someone asked me something. Someone asked in the questions, and the person said, how did you know that you were to be a public speaker, or how did you start the public speaking journey? So I'm going to be starting with my story, and I want everyone to listen. So on this slide, you can see a picture of me teaching. You could see what's on the board, speech writing. No, tell me what's on the board. Like, right, I want to see that will be confirmed that you're following me. Please just type what you see in the chat box. What do you see? Exactly. The opening, the body, the closing. So in 2021, I organized my first physical public speaking training, and it was a record-breaking one for me, because I think the most important thing for us as human beings is that we get to break boundaries, we get to set targets for ourselves and do what we want to do. In 2019, prior to 2019, I've been that person that loved to communicate. I've loved, for the longest of times, from when I was a child watching the news, I've loved seeing newscasters. I've loved how these people just speak, and they just speak fluently. And I hoped to just be like them sometime. So that's continued. But at some point, I felt like this whole public speaking thing, it was for certain persons that have decided to call themselves, quote, public speakers. So I felt like I was not that person, and I truly admired people who I saw function effectively in the space. In 2019, I got an invite, or I saw the advert for a speech contest, but Harcourt Shift competition, and I decided to sign up. So I was unsure. Particularly, I didn't tell people, because I wanted, you know, when you just sign up for something and you're signing up thinking, if I fail, I'll just hide my head in shame. Nobody would ask me any question. I went like that. So I barely told people what I wanted to do. I just went, and I told a few of my friends. Well, the good part of the story is that with consistency in that time and the willingness to learn, I got to emerge as the first runner-up in that public speaking competition. And so my journey began. From 2019 till now, that's like 4 years, I've been able to transition not just to teach people speaking or go to events speaking only, but getting to host and be paid for hosting and be paid for certain speaking engagements as well. And for me, I would say that everyone who has the voice, everyone who can speak can be a speaker. You're blessed with the gift of your voice to communicate. Imagine the world without people that talk. Imagine that everyone was dumb. What would the world have been like? But the world is blessed with our voices so that we get to express ourselves to people and get them to be blessed by the gifts that we are. Going forward, now see this. Your ability to communicate with others will account for fully 85% of your success in your business and in your life. This quote is by Brian Tracy. Your ability to communicate with others will account for fully 85% of your success in your business and in your life. This brings me to what someone said about, oh, I want to start a business. Yes, you want to start a business and you need public speaking to effectively communicate to people so that they will see the value that you offer and decide to patronize you, collaborate with you, join you on your journey of impact, on your journey of money making, on your journey of business doing. But how do we do all of this is if we can't communicate effectively. If we say, oh, I'm not a public speaker, public speaking is for those people. Some persons even say, oh, I am an introvert. You know, you people can talk now. Me, I'm not. I just like to be on my own, be in my shell. Well, as I said, you were blessed with the gift of your voice, and you were blessed with that gift so that people, everyone, could be blessed with the gift that you have. Going forward, thank you. Going forward, this class has been put down into these parts. These different parts we'll be considering. Considering the questions that we submitted, I was able to summarize them to these groups. 1, overcoming stage fright. 2, speech structure. 3, speech delivery. 4, audience engagement. And 5, stage management. So all that we're going to be learning is centered around all of this. I hope that you stay through and follow me on this journey. So what is a speech? Can someone quickly tell me, what is a speech? What do you think a speech is? Emmanuel, do you want to go? I can see your hand is up. Is it for this question? What is a speech? Very quickly. Public speakers, can I see hands? What is a speech? You're here for Speech Perfect. That's the tag word. If you don't know what a speech is, then we will just end the call and I'll say bye-bye. Okay, Clinton, go, Clinton, go, Clinton, go. Yes, unmute. If possible, turn on your video and speak. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
A speech is the ability to express thoughts and feelings. That's what a speech is.
Okay, great. Anybody, somebody, anybody, any other person wants to try? What is a speech?
Well, you can just say speech is an art of producing sound or forming words together and producing a sound. Just sound normally.
Producing sound. So, is that a speech? Clinton, help us.
Well, that's a music. That's a music. When you talk about speech, you're talking about a words you bring together to address a certain set of people. So you're bringing words together.
Bringing words together to address people. Jessica, please go on.
Yeah, so for me, I can say speaking is giving out words specifically for the purpose of communicating a certain message to a specific audience.
Can you please take that again?
Yeah, I was saying speaking is giving out a voice or giving out a message specifically for the purpose of communicating a certain message to a specific audience.
Thank you for a specific audience.
I hope.
Thank you. We have Joy.
And
Joy. We have Feisayo saying a speech can be a verbal expression. We have Joy saying a speech is a detailed oral information that's passed to an audience. And Kingsley saying words expressed verbally, that is what you call a speech. Thank you. Let's see what we have here. I have here, a speech is a form of oral communication where a speaker addresses an audience, presenting ideas, information, opinions, or arguments on a specific topic. I repeat, a speech is a form of oral communication where a speaker addresses an audience, presenting ideas, information, opinions, or arguments on a specific topic. So when you have conversations, when you have a conversation with your friend, would you agree that you're giving a speech? Let me see it in the chat box. Are you saying yes or no? When you have a conversation with your friend, are you giving a speech? Yes, 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 yes. Honest, no, no, no. You're saying no, sir. Yes, no. Okay, okay. Kind of. Okay. An extemporaneous speech, informal speech. Yes, yes, yes. So I would go with everyone no, because it's informal. Of course, speeches don't necessarily have to be formal all the time. Speeches don't necessarily have to be formal all the time. Speeches can be formal, speeches can be informal, but quite a number of times people refer to those ones that you do before audiences officially as speeches. But by the moment from the definition, we saw that a speech is a form of oral communication where a speaker addresses an audience, presents ideas, information, opinions, or arguments on a specific topic. So the moment you are doing any of that, you are giving a speech. It may be informal, as I said. And for you to have a perfect speech, your speech must fall under the category of all that I'm going to say. One, your speech must be delivered with confidence. So we're starting now with number one, overcoming stage fright. We're dealing with verbal part. Morrison is asking something in the chat box. We're dealing with the verbal aspect of communication now. We're dealing with the verbal aspect. Although you should take note that when you deliver speeches officially, formally, those ones that are not conversations, those ones that are not extemporaneous, those ones that you prepare to give, of course, you have to write them down. So we're going to be having all of that conversation and enlightenment shortly. So we're starting overcoming stage fright. Have you ever wanted to speak and you prepared, you rehearsed, you did all that you could do, you stood in front of a mirror and then you went up the stage and you went blank? You asked yourself, didn't I practice? Didn't I rehearse? Or you went like 3 minutes into the presentation and you just got stuck. Start looking at everybody like this. What next? What next? People will now say, she crammed it though. She didn't know. Don't tell me you crammed your speech. Or you wanted to do something, you wanted to speak, you've rehearsed, and before you went up to speak, you started sweating, you started feeling numb. You were feeling normal before then, but you just started feeling sick, feverish, like, I'm not feeling so well today. I don't know what, I just have this slight headache. Has that ever happened to you on your speaking journey? Yes, in the process of the speech, I went blank. Some people are saying yes, yes, yes. Just let me know. Absolutely. Okay. 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 So I want to say that one thing that I notice is that quite a number of persons struggle with stage fright. Quite a number of persons struggle with stage fright. And as speakers, it's important that we get to develop ourselves to the point that we don't have to struggle with stage fright, but we're able to effectively manage our emotions. Because one thing we should note is that speaking is like any kind of activity that you need preparation for. So if I am not a good singer and you call me up stage to sing to an audience, what will happen? Will that automatically mean I'll start singing with a melodious sound? Of course, everybody is going to laugh at me because I'm not a singer. It's the same thing in speaking. When you have not gotten so much used to facing a particular kind of audience, you'd most likely face a bit of fear because the body is programmed in a way. I don't want to go into all of the biological details. So people think of this whole fright thing as something strange, but you should begin to confront it for what it is. Fear doesn't want you to be what God has called you for. Fear wants you to dim your light. Fear wants your voice to be silenced. But will you let fear grip your destiny? Imagine God has created you to be that person that would speak to the millions, the nations of the earth. And because of fear, you're just folding your arms and waiting that one day deliverance will come and you would suddenly not be frightened. Of course, it doesn't happen that way. It takes intentional effort. And as I said, just like any other activity that you're not so used to, fear would happen. But you must ask, what is the worst that will happen? You should also consider the future in mind. Look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. People here said they want to start businesses. Do you need this skill for your business? If yes, are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to put in the work that would make you to become a confident speaker? Are you willing to? I want to see that response. Are you willing to? Yes, no, maybe, I'm thinking about it. I want to see that in the comment section. What are you deciding to do? See, I want to shift your mind this evening because see, if you are afraid, everything I will say in the coming minutes, you will not gain anything. So the first step is to actually defeat the fear, to say, see, fear, I am confronting you. From today henceforth, I'm going to be a confident speaker. Going to the next tip. This is my all-time favorite because I feel like I need to write my name on this tip. I didn't learn it from anybody. I learned it from within. The next step, practice private speaking. Private speaking, for people that have done lessons with me, they must have heard it a lot of times. Private speaking. You have public speaking. You have private speaking. What is public would always have the opposite side. Opposite of public is private. So the same way you come out to everybody to give a public presentation is the same way you speak every single day. What happens when you are speaking to your friend? Were you afraid to speak to your friend? No. When you went to the market, did you tell the lady, Madam, I know if you buy your market, are they shy? Are they shy? Did you say that? No. When you wanted to ask your father for school fees, you say, Daddy, I'm shy. I cannot speak school fees. You want to tell them, if I don't pay school fees, they will drive me from school. That's what you did. And so it's the same thing. When you are able to speak before little or smaller audiences, then speaking to larger audiences becomes like a compounding effect. And so you don't expect magic to happen. You've not been able to speak to 10. You want to speak to 100. They invited you to your church meeting. You're seeing 300. You've not spoken to 10 or 20. 10 eyes. Wait, 10 human beings have how many eyes? 20 eyes. 20 eyes are just looking at you like this. You've not been able to speak to them. And you're going to a room full of eyes. 250, 500 eyes looking at you. What are you going to do? Obviously, you'll be scared. One, you're not confident. Two, maybe you've rehearsed, but fear would not allow you to pass your message. So what do? You should now intentionally practice private speaking. Don't speak like people that are not professional. You must speak with professionalism on your mind every single time. When people ask me, Abie, when do you rehearse? I tell them, I don't even have a rehearsal time officially, because every time is my rehearsal time. You would barely find me communicating in a wrong way. Yeah, you'd barely find me doing that. And that's because I know that it's not a switch. It's not an on and off switch. Put off professionalism and put it on at this time. My dear, when you are not used to it, just doesn't happen. It's just like vocabulary. Quite a number of persons also ask, I want to develop my vocabulary and all of that. Even if I'll go to speech delivery now, if you are not able to pronounce words correctly on a daily, you're still saying market instead of market. You're still saying champagne instead of champagne. You're still saying, which one will I use now? I'm thinking of a particular word, but you're still mispronouncing. Yes, you're still saying pronunciation instead of pronunciation. How do you now want to go up to a stage and say pronunciation? You need to practice these things daily, not because we are friends and we are capping and we are speaking like we came from the village yesterday. No, we have to speak professionally regardless. It doesn't mean you'll be doing good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, to your friends every single time. No, it means that there should be that intentional effort because your friends are like your first audience. They are still an audience. They are your friends, but they are an audience. Let me tell you, I talked about going for a speech contest in 2019. Guess what I did? Every night, at the time I was in River State University, I used to sit my friends down and speak to them. There were four. I had Israel, Rita, Glory, and Paul. So whenever I wrote my speeches, I'll just call them to sit down. I'll start speaking to them. Say, what do you think about this speech? They'll give me feedbacks. I'll work on it. That's the same thing. And so when on the competition, there were over 2,000 persons in the hall. I still went out, but because I have built that confidence from my friends, I could step up and just speak. My dear, I was scared though, because 2,000 persons is no beans, but I was able to still manage it because it is just like, I have done it before, I will do it again. I have done it before, I will do it again. That is, it boosts your confidence when you know that this is something you've done over time. And so you should intentionally curate these smaller spaces. It can be in your church. A lot of persons even ask, oh, how do I create speaking opportunity for myself? How do I do this? You don't need to receive an invitation. Dear Peculiar Morrison, kindly come and speak to us for 30 minutes on. No, you can actually curate that opportunity for yourself to intentionally speak with the idea that you want to grow. Do not miss opportunity. We literally have been missing opportunities. You see your course mates, you can't speak to them. Let me tell you one trick I actually practiced when I was in school. Maybe quite a couple of persons would know. I used to do announcements. They did not even send me. JCCF announcements, I used to carry it on my head. JCCF, by the way, is Joint Christian Campus Fellowship. So when we used to have events or say, oh, go invite people, I would carry the flyers. I would literally curate speeches and I'll go to classes and tell people, okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abigail. I'm from JCCF. Now, we know that relationship is something that would be very important for us as people because eventually we'd get married. We are even in relationships here. We are friends. So how do we exactly relate? It's important that we come for this meeting because good speakers, experienced speakers are going to come and give us the knowledge that we need. Come for relationships. Man, when I finish my presentation, people come, are you a mass comm student? Tell me, are you? No, I'm in civil engineering. I took all of those opportunities like my learning process. So don't miss opportunities and be waiting for people to invite you before you groom yourself. No, you must take that decision to groom yourself with the little audiences that you see, your office, your school, your family. Don't just be doing family time. Everybody, movie time, Netflix and chill. No, let them sit down and listen to you speak and give you feedbacks. That is on overcoming stage fright. I don't want to. And another thing as well, man, if you're not confident, you also need the part. What is that thing about you? Netflix and listen. Thank you. Right now, Netflix and listen. I love it. So you need to create those opportunities for yourself to actually work, to actually speak. Now, what do you love about yourself? Let me tell you, I'm tall. At a point, I would even stand for it. See, I'm a tall person. I love my height. I love that I walk into a room and I must be noticed. I love that by the time I even open my voice to tell you, oh, good afternoon, how are you doing? You say, oh, this guy's voice is cool. I love that feeling. So I intentionally do it. When I walk into spaces, maybe even at the start of, that's why a lot of times commendations I get from my speeches is, I love the way you sound. That's because I intentionally have decided to sound that way. It wasn't accidental. There was a time in my life that people didn't even like my voice. Don't even like the way I even sound itself. So I had to intentionally work on my voice and rehearse and practice. It doesn't just automatically happen. Even if my voice wasn't that bad. I loved my voice, but it's not that when I had all those feedbacks and I looked down on myself. No, I just felt like, okay, feedback, can I work on this thing? Can my voice be so good? I started rehearsing, and at the end, I could get more feedback saying, oh, you sound good. You sound great. Because do you know what? Your voice is what holds your audience to listen to you. Even if you should give your audience reason, by the way, you should give them reason to listen. Why am I listening to you? I may not like your message, but I love your voice. I may not like your message, but I love how you look. So overcoming stage fright, please look good. Because you know that by the time you start hearing, she even dresses safe. Look at her shoes. She never even iron. Your morale is already gone. The same morale. People sing this morale high song. You need them to give them a reason. Why should I listen to you? I will look smart. I will look good. So by the time you come in, see, you need to walk like you even, there's a way you would dress and you are feeling yourself. Even if you don't tell me, I know I'm fine. Even if you don't tell me, I know my hair looks good. I mean, that is it. Because these things, though some people neglect them, but they help build your confidence. So when I'm going to speak to you, I'm going complete. You know, sometimes people are not talking. I don't know if you've experienced this thing. You just see people sitting and they're discussing. They're not talking about you. They were saying something entirely different that you feel like they're talking to you. I don't know if you've experienced that. People are not talking about you, or you feel they're talking to you. Man, but when you dress well, when you look good, you smell good, and you're confident, whatever they are saying is not your business, because in my head, all you're saying is that you love how I look. So I am speaking to myself for you. And that's one thing to practice. People assume, some persons also ask, oh, what if the audience doesn't like me, blah, blah, blah. People are attracted to value. People are attracted to good things. That is the truth. So do not assume the response of your audience. Don't assume. People assume, and that's the beginning of people's problems. You're assuming that people are giving negative comments about your presentation. They may not be. They may be, it may be something else. So do not answer for people. Rather, answer positively for them. Don't answer negatively for them. Answer positively for them. So, okay, you people are talking. No wahala. Me, I know that what you're saying is that I want to give you value. What you're saying is that I love your height. What you're saying is that this guy looks good. What you're saying is that this guy sounds good. It is that reason that now becomes a point to hold on to, because it's a state of the mind. The moment you're balanced, you're convinced that you're ready to deliver, you've gotten the audience. And the moment you've gotten the audience and they're listening, that is the beginning of your excellence in speech delivery. Because why speak? It's communication for a reason. Why speak if people are not listening? And that's one thing. Some people say, oh, I would rather look up. I don't know if people deceived you like that. Look up. I remember when I was in primary school, we had presentations. And when we would want to speak, obviously we would be scared genuinely. The teacher would say, when you go, be looking at their heads. On top of their heads, am I talking to, I don't know. Imagine talking to your head. How do I look at your head? But they said, look at their heads. And funnily enough, people continue with this wrong narrative that you go to events and you're looking, please, if you're on this course, speak perfect. Don't stop it. Don't look at people's heads when you're speaking. That even shows that you're not a confident speaker. A confident speaker looks into your eyes. I love how your eyes are looking. You look into their eyes because you're confident. So cancel any wrong narrative. You need to face the audience squarely and speak and hold their attention, because when you've gotten them, you can pass your message. When you're confident and you've gotten, and you cannot get the attention of your audience if you're not confident. When you go, you're just doing like, who is unmuted? So, or you are constantly doing your hair like this. I don't know if you've seen some persons, they are speaking and you're just constantly doing like this, doing like this, doing like this, trying to adjust their dress. And you're wondering, is it now you knew that your dress was all right, or it's a tactic to be confident? Of course, all of those things are not necessary. We need to be confident. With all of the tips I've given, I want to believe that I have been able to answer all of the questions that would come from that angle. So let's go to the next part. Speech structure. Speech structure. Speech structuring is very important because you don't just want to be speaking anyhow. And that's why there's a difference between professional speakers and he knows how to talk. And the reason for Speech Perfect is to raise professional speakers and not he knows how to talk. So you must structure your speech just like you saw in the first slide. A speech has 3 parts: the introduction, the body, and the closing. The introduction, the body, and the closing. Just like our English comprehensions. Everybody, I want to believe, did English comprehension. So just like those, speeches have structure. And it's your structure that helps your audience to follow through. The problem some people have with speech writing, speech delivery, is that they don't know how to structure their speech. And so you don't know how the audience will take your message. Please note, when writing your speech, you should write your speech knowing that you're not writing your speech for yourself. You're not writing love letter to Abie, love letter to Peculiar, love letter to Sharon. You're writing for people. So if the attention is for people, you shouldn't write it in a way that it only suits you. You should write it with them in mind. Because at the end of the day, someone even asks, oh, how do you judge your presentation? Do you judge your presentation based on you or based on the audience? It's based on the audience, because they are listening to you to get a particular reaction, maybe a call to action that would inspire certain expressions. So if you are not able to effectively communicate to them, whatever you have done in maybe your 20, 30 minutes was just to successfully waste their time. Because you must speak in a way that they follow you through your journey. Imagine public speaking as a journey. Public speaking is a journey. You are speaking to people and you are like the driver in the car. And you're driving them from one place to another. Imagine that you entered into a car and the driver told you that he was going to Lagos. Instead of going to Lagos, the driver from Port Harcourt stopped at Cross River State. Later, he told you he was going to Enugu. From Enugu, he said, no, he's going to Sokoto. From Sokoto, he came all the way back. How would you feel as a person? That is what you do to your audience when you do not give your speech structure. You're literally the driver in the car and you're leading them to different places. So at the end of the day, they don't even know what you're doing. And so they just zone out. When we say, I zoned out. You cannot zone out of a speech that is properly curated, a speech that is well structured. Because at the end of the day, I'm asking, how do I follow through your speech? You're taking me here, you're taking me there, you're saying different things at the same time. Where are we going? Why mislead me? With all due respect, did I come to this event to be misled? No, I came to have a good time. I came to listen and get value. And so it's important that you properly structure your speech. This brings me to people saying, I am not prepared to speak. I don't know if you've heard speakers, you walk up to an audience that are eagerly waiting to listen to you and you say, they actually just told me about this event yesterday and I'm really not prepared to speak to you, but I know that regardless, you'd have a good time. What good time? What good time? You successfully told me that I am about to waste my time. Nobody cares if you were told about speaking today. Nobody cares if you were told yesterday. All I care about is speak and speak well. So why come up to an audience? And you should note this, never give an audience the impression that you are unprepared for them. Because the moment you do that, you begin to lose them one after the other. Because people are sensitive to information. The moment you give me the idea that I'm about to waste my time, I will bring out my phone. I will start checking WhatsApp messages that maybe I've not even checked throughout the day. Do you get it? So you must ensure that the beginning of your speech, your introduction, makes the audience feel respected and makes them pumped up for your session to say, Omo, if I miss this session, I have missed something in life. That is what your speech should be like. The beginning should be as engaging. The beginning should give the audience the reason to listen to you for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, because the moment you begin to lose them, it's like a ripple effect. You lose this one, you lose that one. If you notice in audiences, there is just maybe One person brings out his phone. Before you know, the neighbor has seen that that person is using his phone. Maybe the person was playing Candy Crush. I'm not playing Candy, I've started playing Candy Crush. You are speaking to an audience that it has become a game center. Speaker, what are you speaking? You need to speak and make sure these people are engaged. And that starts from your introduction. How do you start your speech? Still in speech structure and holding on to introduction, we can talk about speech structuring and speech writing without considering the 5 W's and 1 H of public speaking. The 5 W's and 1 H are one of the most effective strategies in writing any speech, and I'm going to be telling you about them. Maybe you heard them before, maybe you've not, but I'm going to remind you if you've heard about it, and I'm going to tell you now so that you don't just say, I don't know what to speak about. Oh, I want to write a speech. I don't know how to write it. This would give you how to write your speech. 5 W's and 1 H. Let's start. Who, why, what, who, why, what, where, when, and how. Who, why, what, where, when, and how. Can I just see it in the chat box? Who, why, what, where, when, and how. Who, why, what, where, when, and how. Oh, who, why, what, where, when, and how. It has become a rap song. Who, why, what, when, where, and how. Who, why, what. You should clap for me now. It's easy to rap. Well, who, why, what, where, when, and how. Yes, those are the 5 W's and 1 H of public speaking. Before you speak to an audience, who are you speaking to? Who are you speaking to? Last week, I spoke to the people at Church on the Street, and I gave them an analogy, a very, very true story. So I was invited to speak to an audience. I think that was 3 years ago. It was a church. And you know how we are young now. We want to give young examples. I even knew that these people were young people. But to tell you the truth, I never knew that they were not my kind of people. I went there, and I planned I was going to give them about something that was trending. Was it a trending song or a trending dance step? I gave them this luxury, and they're just looking at me like this. I know, and audience sensitivity is very important. You're going to come to audience engagement. It's very important. So, knowing that, seeing how these people were just looking at me, I said, there's a problem, Abi. What are you saying? I then asked, do you people know this thing I just talked about? To my greatest surprise, they had no idea. I immediately changed the example to something else, and they still didn't get it before I used the most simple example ever. That was when they got my example. So the knowledge of the audience is very important. So you don't wrongly craft messages. So you craft messages exactly how they suit the audience, because you're not writing the speech for yourself, you're writing the speech for people. Sorry, can you repeat? I don't know where you missed it from. I believe you'd follow the recording. So who are you writing the speech for? Why are you writing the speech? Why are you writing the speech? Why are you even the one speaking? Maybe they invited you. Why didn't I invite somebody else? Why didn't I invite, it's a public speaking event. Why didn't I invite a radio presenter? Why did I invite you that is maybe a professional MC and not just a radio presenter? You need to, where do I come into the story? Where do I come into the story? Because if I now know why, I would now know how to bring in myself to the picture. Maybe I am something, maybe I have certain qualities I want me to highlight in my speech. I now begin to tie my speech to those qualities that you would want me to highlight, that you would want your audience to have. And so it's important to know why. Why is it speech perfect? That's why I started by asking us, why is it speech perfect? What do you want to achieve? So why is it you speaking? Why is it this topic? Why not another topic? What? Let's go to what now. What is the main idea of this speech? what is the main idea? Every speech has something that it wants to achieve. And to prove that a speech is successful is to ensure that the speech achieves the reason why it was delivered. So if you write your speech and your speech doesn't tie to the main idea, then there is a problem. Then your speech is not perfect. Your speech is an imperfect speech if it doesn't tie to the main idea. It must tie to the main idea. It must answer the question the main idea is raising. What exactly does this speech aim to achieve? We do aims and objectives. Every speech has a reason. Every speech has the why. So what exactly does this speech want to achieve? Who, why, what, when? So when is this speech happening? Are there certain trending things that would be able to help people? Just like right now, what's the trending thing now? Floating berries. Floating berries and groceries and floating berries. I just got my floating berries and that's what's raining. So you may want to bring in floating berries to your speech because people would understand. You would get people's attention that way. You don't want to give a very still example. People would wonder, maybe this one is not in the country. You're still telling us about chocolate candy. Chocolate candy, you're in the spirit. So you're still using still examples. You want to be current. You want to use examples that are current. So when is this speech happening? Or at what time of the day is it happening to? Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? Is it in the evening? When is it happening? I can say, at the cool of the day, if it's evening, I would know how to craft my message depending on the time that the event is happening. So that's for when. Where is the event happening? Where exactly? What's the location of this event? How is the whole arrangement? Where would you be speaking? Do you know how the stage is going to be arranged? Then you can know also, because some persons sometimes plan that, I'm going to bring out people and give an example, thinking that there is no elevated platform. And then you go to the venue and you see an elevated platform, and you know that if you're going to be standing there, it's going to be awkward coming down to get people. So you now have to re-strategize. So you need to know where the event is happening also, so you know how to structure the speech. Will I be allowed to move into the audience and do certain things? Would I be able to get to this part of the hall? Would I be able to pass this message in this way, depending on the setting? Where exactly is this event happening? And it's important to know where also, because some persons miss out on events because they don't know the venue. You wait till the event day before you look for location. I say, I'm coming there. I just lost my way. They are waiting for speaker. Speaker is nowhere to be found. You don't say, our speaker is currently unavoidably absent, and speaker will be joining us in 15 minutes. They don't know that it's because speaker has lost his way on the road. So you want to know where the event is happening before the event date. That's important. Then how? The only H in the concept table, the how is very important, because at the end of the day, all of the things we've talked about comes to the how. How can I properly create this message to suit these people? How will I connect this venue, connect the reason, connect the main idea, connect the audience to my message? How do I write this speech to suit them? That is the how. And so it's important that you get your how for you to be able to curate your speech from the introduction to the body and to the closing. It's recommended sometimes that you start a speech with a quote. You start a speech with a story. I must tell you that people like gist. People would not listen to you, but when you say 5 years ago, what happened? Because take public speaking as music now. Public speaking deals with emotions just the same way music deals with emotions. So public speaking is about holding people's emotions and swinging it the way you want it to go. Just like music, I sing a song because I want to evoke a certain emotion within you. And so that song is, Oh, as I lay me down, heaven hear me now. Clap for me, I can sing. So I use that emotion because I want you to feel a certain way. It's the same thing in speech writing, in speech delivery. It's about holding people's emotion and swinging it how you want it to go. So at the end of the day, you're asking yourself, how did I hold this emotion? Did this emotion go how I want it to? Maybe you wanted people to go and reflect on their lives at the end of your speech, and you finish speaking and everybody is laughing. You're laughing. How are you laughing? I wanted you to go and reflect on your life and say, oh, I've been wasting my time. I need to scale up. I need to upskill. I need to become more purposeful. And after your speech, you see everybody laughing. Why are you laughing? And so it's important you master the art of emotions. Emotion mastery, emotional intelligence comes into play even in the curation of your speech. So you know the kind of words you're using, you know the kind of examples you're giving. Because when I'm writing my speech and I want you to think, I will not just give you a line going like that. I won't say, I started speaking because I wanted to speak. I started speaking because I wanted to make money. And I just started though. And now I've come. I host events now. I'd rather say it was a journey I didn't know its end. I started thinking that this journey was not going to lead me to anywhere. However, I've come to a place of realizing that with intentionality and with focus and with commitment to excellence, everything is possible. Just by winning a public speaking contest, I have become a master of public speaking, that I can now hold 100 persons on a call and teach them public speaking. This is just an on-the-spot example, but you see the difference in this. So you need to know how you structure, what kind of words are you using? That's what now guides the vocabulary of your speech. So that's on the speech structuring. That's on the speech structuring. I think it's a good time for us to go to the next part, speech delivery. At the end of the day, you've written the speech. What next? Will your speech deliver itself? Well-written speech. How do we deliver this speech? Now, it's important to note that your delivery makes up a greater percentage of your speech perfection than the speech write-up in itself. Why do you think people believe lies? Someone will come and lie, and people will believe. And you say somebody with the truth, nobody is believing. That's why people say lawyers are liars. My dear, I am sorry if you're on this call and you're a lawyer, but in the law profession, it's about persuasive speaking. It's about convincing the judge. You may not have the truth, but you're able to curate your lie properly and tell the judge, objection, my lord, this, quote your cases, and you will win the case. It most times doesn't go in the way. That's why do you think people go to jail for no reason? For something they didn't even go about, they didn't even know about. They go to jail. Why? We need to properly deliver speeches. And in speech delivery, number one thing you should consider is the power in your voice. Vocal variety is very important. No, I didn't say no, lawyers are not liars. I am not saying lawyers are liars. I was just using it for an example. Lawyers are not liars, please. But of course, we understand that part of persuasive speaking. So it's important that you are able to deliver your speech properly. Vocal variety. Some people say, oh, my voice is not loud enough. My voice is not loud enough? Are we in the bedroom? You'll be speaking. A confident speaker can't speak that way. Nobody was born with microphone in their voices. It's actually something you can build upon. If you're not used to speaking loudly, it doesn't come in one day. You can't start speaking audibly automatically. It has to grow. You need to give yourself that intentional effort to start speaking audibly. So your vocal variety has to be intact. Your vocal variety has to be intact. On speech writing also, please note coherence. Coherence is very important. A coherent speech. You don't want to say something and say another thing. You want to be coherent in your speech. Yes. And transitioning as well. You want to transition from one point of your speech to another point seamlessly. So I don't know that you're changing gear. It's just like, I use this car analogy a lot. It's just like you're changing the gear. In automatic cars, you may not know how the car is changing, but when it's a manual car, you would know something is moving. But you want to be that speaker that's an automatic speech perfectionist, that you'd speak in a way that people just follow through your journey seamlessly. So that's about that. So we would continue now on speech delivery. Vocal variety, as I said, it's very important. You need to express the emotions in your words, how you want them to be taken. I am sad that 5 years ago, I wanted to start my business and I couldn't because of money. I am sad that 5 years ago, I wanted to start my business and I couldn't because of money. What's the emotion? Your voice, your vocal delivery must suit the words. So it's about bringing the words and the vocals together. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. On speech delivery. Also on speech delivery, we have the engagement. You need to ask questions genuinely to the audience. You need to engage them with questions. Are there points where you need to seek feedback and continue? Because you also don't want the audience to feel like you just went to cram something and you came to recite. So if your speech would be engaging, then you need to fix some questions inside and ask them purposefully with pauses. You need to know when to pause. You need to know when to continue so that people don't think that you just called them to make them to sleep. But when you pause, it makes people drawn to the next thing you want to say. When everywhere is quiet and your voice just comes out, people know that something is coming. So you need to know when to pause, where to pause. And you shouldn't now pause everywhere and it becomes as though you are spreading sleeping medicine. You need to pause intentionally because of the emotion you want to propel in the audience. So that is for speech delivery. As I said, we can't say everything in one day, right? And I'm just going to do my best. And I believe that we're getting value. If you're getting value, please just write in the comments and just say, I am getting value. I am getting value. I am getting value. Please do that. Thank you. Great, great, great. Thank you. Thank you. Now we go to the next. Audience engagement. Value is getting me. That's what somebody said. Interesting. Audience engagement. At the end of the day, you're delivering the speech to engage the audience. Because if the audience is not engaged, they will not be able to follow through. To engage the audience, it's important that you do not fall into the temptation of speakers. A lot of speakers fall into the speaker's temptation of focusing on the part of the audience that is attracted to you. You know, that is one thing you should fight as a speaker. Because when you do not watch that and you don't intentionally focus on the entire hall to engage, before you know, you're just looking at these people because you feel like they are getting it, and you've forgotten everybody. The reverse should be the case. Your attention should even be more on people that are not listening. Because, excuse me, for people who are already engaged, I don't have a problem with you. I can look at you now and I wouldn't look in this direction for the next 1 minute and I would come back. But for people who are not engaged at all, You see the questions. You say, I can't hear it from that side. Can I hear you? Because I want to. It's a compound effect, right? The response you're getting must be a holistic response. It mustn't come from one side. Even though you're cheating the other side, you want to engage everyone. So you want to try as much as you can to call in the people that are not following. When you notice people are not following your delivery, that is the part to focus on. Not on the part that is already engaging. Whilst you carry them along, ensure that you even place more emphasis on the part that is not engaging. And that's why it's important as a speaker, when you go into a hall, you already sense the room. You're not just there and you just go up to speak. No, you should, the professionalism there is that you're able to study the hall before they even call you up to speak. So if you are very sensitive, you'd be able to find out already the part of the hall that is responsive, the part of the hall that is hard to engage. And so your first question when you go to the stage may be to engage that part that is not engaging. Audience engagement. Also, to engage your audience at the beginning of your speech, don't just climb the stage and start speaking. No, you have to pause. Because that's a kind of engagement as well. When I come up stage and everywhere is noisy, and I know you can see me, and I'm talking back at you, that's chaotic. But if I just hold on for like 5-10 seconds more, before you know it, it's like the effect just goes from one to the next, 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 and the entire hall becomes engaged. That is just how to do it. Audience engagement is very important if at all you want to deliver speeches perfectly. Going to the last, but not the least, stage management. What is your stage? You know, we said something about speaking and speeches, formal speeches, informal speeches, and now we're focusing on the formal part. You're invited to speak and you have a stage. How can you properly use this stage? The stage management is not just in the movement. The stage management is in you first as the person. The stage management begins with you before it goes out. What is my delivery like? When I'm making a particular statement, am I expected to engage with this gesticulation or keep my hands in this way? That's part of the stage. And that's why we look at Chimamanda Adichie and you wonder, okay, stage management, she doesn't, if you watch Chimamanda, she usually just stays on the lectern. Because you're using a lectern doesn't mean that you are not engaging, doesn't mean that you're not managing your stage. Different speeches require different modes of communication, and regardless of the mode that is required in every space, engagement is necessary. Stage management is important. And so you should know when to pace. How would I walk? How should I walk? Where should I stand? How should I stand? You don't want to go up stage and you're just restless, or you lean on, some people do this. There's a lectern and you just lean on the lectern. You shouldn't lean on a lectern. That's part of stage management. So managing the stage means that managing from you to the space that has been couched for you to speak at. That's the management of the stage. And so for every place where we get to speak, we need to respect the stage. You can't go to maybe a church and you're slapping their pulpits. Lean on a lectern. I mean, a lectern. You don't know what a lectern is? A lectern, that's probably rectangular stuff that just stays on the platform people get to speak on, the lectern. L-E-C-T-E-R-N, that's the word. You don't want to lean on the lectern. You don't want to go and slap the lectern. You should know how you should know how this stage operates. Just like in TEDx now. TEDx has this red circle that you need to stand on. You shouldn't go beyond that space. Where you're speaking, is it going to be something like that? You need to know how this stage operates so you do not mismanage the stage, right? By engagement, you may mismanage the stage if you don't know how it operates. So if at all, you need to reach out to people organizing an event and ask, okay, where am I supposed to stand to speak? Oh, can I do this? Even if you want to give certain examples, you want to do certain things on stage, you need to let the organizers know before time. You don't just say, oh, they invited me to speak. You don't know what is obtainable there. And you don't want to annoy the audience, because to you, as I said, you're not writing the speech for yourself, you're writing it for people. To you, it may be right, to the audience, it may be wrong. And to the end where to the audience is wrong, it's automatically wrong. So you don't want to annoy them. Someone asked in the form, and the person asked, oh, what if what I want to say contradicts what the audience already knows? It depends on how you pass the information, and that's why it's communication. You must come from the known to the unknown. I can't just come fighting your opinions. I know you don't know this in this way. I want to introduce something new to you, a new concept. I will come from what you know. Use storytelling, which is important in speech delivery and speech writing. Storytelling, you need to master the art of telling stories, because if you just write out a story and it's not properly written and delivered, the essence of writing the story is defeated. And as I said, people like gist. So stories always win the day because it gets people to follow. It gets people in their emotions. And what you should do when you speak is that you should keep people expecting more. You should keep people expecting more. Just like a Nigerian movie. Why some people hate Nigerian movies, with all due respect, is that some people say, you already know the end from the beginning, so why? There is no suspense. So your speech should be curated in a way that people anticipate the next step. It shouldn't give out all of itself at the beginning. If not, there will be nothing to expect anymore. So follow through the speech. One way should lead to the next, to lead to the next, to lead to the end. And people now get the entire picture, get the entire point. Delivering speeches perfectly takes an intentional effort. It doesn't just happen accidentally. And for you that has spent your time here engaging and in a very distinct way, participating in the comments, staying up to this point, I'm sure that you want to speak perfectly. And that is the first step, the intention, the determination to speak. As I said, it takes hard work. Are you determined? Can you do it? Yes. Can you do it? Yes. Are you confident? Yes. So it now has come to your turn. The ball is in your court. What will you do with the knowledge you've gained? What will you do with the knowledge you have gained?